Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, a show needs an intro. This is that intro. I am Fisher, your host. McCarty is in Liverpool. We got the Wake.Pups here. That's Roxy and Joey, and it's pretty cool. Good morning and welcome to the Wake. Oh, sorry about that, Rox. Good morning and welcome to the Wake.Pups. Thank you so much to Single Source Insurance for being the sponsor of the first 15 minutes of the Wake.Show. I am Chris Fisher. Chris McCarty is in Liverpool right now, and he's got some cool stuff going on. Let me check. Wow, we'll get to that later. All right. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, Alexander. How are you doing? Oh, did I ever message you back? I didn't, did I? I want to see if you're interested in coming on the show sometime soon. I would like to, talk cultural stuff. Alexander is in Russia. Where in Russia are you, Alexander? Hey, Mike Williams, how are you, sir? Good to see you, Ian. So anyway, I was talking to Cords about you yesterday. He says you're a very interesting cat and have a very cool perspective on things. So I'd love to chat it up with you on the show sometime if that's something you'd be interested in. I will message you. I'll try to remember to message you. I'm a horrible producer. So anyway, before we get into the show today, we got a couple things to talk about. First of all, did you guys see the video when you woke up this morning coming out of USF or right around the corner from USF? A woman falling out of the back of an SUV and landing in an intersection. The guy stops the vehicle, gets out, goes, grabs the woman. She's just laying there, tosses her back in, and takes off. And nobody does shit. So anyway, we'll get to that story. They did find the vehicle, but not. And you guys might, I haven't updated my stuff in a little bit, so maybe something has changed, but from what I understand, they have found the vehicle, but have not found hide nor hair of the woman or that dude. So we'll get to that, and I'll show you the pictures coming up later on. Also, a story, the kids in Thailand. You guys, have you been following that at all? The soccer team, the kids' soccer team that ended up getting trapped in a cave in Thailand as the rainy season was kicking in. And so day 1 passed, day 2 passed, day 3 passed. And, of course, every day that goes by, the probability just drops more and more and more. It's going to be an outcome that anybody wants. Day 4, 5, 6 passes. Day 7, over a week. Day 8. And finally, after 9 days, they did find the entire team. But I guess they're not out of the woods yet, so we'll get to that story. I got a story from the Navy SEAL perspective. Yes, our Navy SEALs were there trying to help out. Good morning, Chris Brown. And we'll get to some of the other stuff today that we'll be talking about. But first, I would like you to invite friends to the Awake.Show. That would be really cool. That would help me out a lot, help out the show, and which is in. So right there, either, whether you're using your laptop, your desktop, or your mobile, you'll see right there as you go to the Wake.Show, invite friends to like your page over there. And if you guys could, and invite some of your friends that you think might be interested in watching every single day. I was all excited, last week we crossed over the 1,000 likes mark, right? And so Monday, I'm like, hey, over 1,000 likes. Tuesday, over 1,000 likes. And I look and I go, oh, shoot. I must have offended somebody because we dropped under the 1,000 likes mark. We're down at 996. I feel like, who was that? Was that Walter Payton? Is anybody old enough here to remember? Was it Walter Payton that broke some record? And I can't remember which record he had, a Jim Brown record or something like this. Of course, this would have been back in the 80s. But I remember watching the football game, and so they stopped down the game, do this big, celebration, game ball, all that kind of stuff, pick the game back up. The next play, he's hit for a loss, and so now he's back behind the record again. It didn't matter because he ended up crushing it anyway. But good morning, Nikki Cooper. How are you feeling? Nikki, can you and I talk for a minute? Because I really haven't lost any weight going keto since the first week. This is week number 3. So week number 1, I basically was down 11 pounds and I'm still right there. I am in ketosis. I don't have, Eric scheduled today to talk about it, but I think what it might be, and this seems so counterintuitive, is I don't think I'm eating enough. I'm not quite getting to my 2,500 calories. Chris Brown is back. Good to see you in the comment section. Like I said, invite your friends when you get the opportunity. That's huge for us. Invite your friends. The likes and the follows and the shares are great, but inviting your friends to like and follow helps out even more. Maribel. So I think that's what it is. I'm supposed to be at 2,500 calories, but it's so weird on this keto diet where you eat no carbs, right? Or basically less than 5% of what I'm eating a day are carbohydrates, sugars, and stuff like that. And what carbs I do get, they're green carbs. It's leafy greens, avocado, what's in nuts, and stuff like that. And I'm not hungry. That's the weird thing too, because you think you'd be hungry. I'm not. I feel like I'm not. I know that I'm not eating enough, but I'm not hungry. And I keep listening to these podcasts and reading more and more. And I guess that is a thing. There's a couple of things that I'm learning along. There's a lot of things I'm learning along the way. Todd T, it's good to see you. And two of those things are carbs. Like once you get carbs out of your having carbs in your system is what keeps you constantly hungry, like hungry every couple of hours, is because we put in carbs and those sugars. And so our sugar spikes, our insulin spikes, and we're good for like 2 hours, 3 hours. And then all of a sudden, that little feeling's coming back. And that's when you have to be careful, because if you don't have your meals planned out and there's a donut laying around the office, if it's somebody's birthday, you're going to have that piece of cake. Well, then you feel good again for about 30 minutes if you're eating a piece of cake. And then it's back to a feeling groggy and I just want a Snickers bar or something like that. Nikki says same, but I had that one bad weekend. I don't think I'm eating enough either. I don't feel super hungry. That's the thing. I don't feel hungry. Have you seen the insulin index? Different from let me pull that up. Thank you, Maribel. I was just listening to that on the podcast today that I follow. The podcasts that I follow are two keto guys. And they've been doing this for a couple of years. You go back to episode 1 when they're first starting it, into this and going from there. Or I'm jumping around, and you don't need to listen to these things in order. It's not a serial kind of a thing. All right, so let me pull this up, because what she's talking about is, I guess, traditionally we're used to a certain index, the glycemic. Is that what it was? I don't mess this up. The insulin index, different from the glycemic. So the glycemic index is what we're used to. And that takes a couple of numbers, does some math, and gives you a certain index, which is supposed to indicate a certain degree of health in the heart or something along those lines. Well, this other index takes two other factors, and this is associated with the keto diet. And correct me if I'm wrong, Maribel, but it takes a couple other factors and puts them into an equation, and you get a number from that. And if your number's in between this and this, you're good. In between that and that, not so good. In between this and this, way not good. And allegedly, this insulin index is supposed to be better representative of that kind of health, your blood health or heart health or something, than the index we've been using. But Maribel, how long have you been doing? How long have you been doing this? Because, the more that I listen to these guys talk and I'm reading it. And I know there's science to back it up, but it sounds like a lot of other people that feel like they have science that backs them up too. Whether it's people, flat earthers, and this might seem like a weird correlation, parallel to draw, but the passion, I guess it's the zealotry and the passion of those people that are in keto or on this keto diet, and because everything is flying in the face of what we were taught. Everything that we supposedly know about dieting and eating and stuff like that. And the government hasn't changed. It's not like this keto thing has come along and the science is there enough for all of a sudden the Food and Drug Administration or whoever handles that in the government is going, all right, well, let's change our little pyramid thing here. We've been a little off over the years based on something. So here we go here. Yeah, glycemic is the sugar in the blood. So from what I understand, because this is what I was listening to today in the podcast, was all right, I'll get to that here in a second. We usually look at this glycemic, thing as an indicator, and so when you go in, that number is way low, I guess now, if you're in ketosis, you're on the keto diet and this, because your body has switched processes, is no longer taking the sugar that you're putting into your body, the carbohydrates you're putting in your body, and turning that into glucose to fuel your brain and everything else. It is taking the fat stores in your body, turning that into ketones, and it uses the ketones as energy instead of glucose. And by the way, you see what happens? You start down this diet, next thing you know, you start talking like you're an expert, like you know things. and I have to iterate and reiterate and reiterate that I'm new to this, and I'm picking up information along the way. And you know what? A lot of it does seem counterintuitive. So we're back to the beginning here. 70% fat, 70 to 80% fat in your diet, 15 to 20% protein, and 5% below carbs. What the F? Now, I did lose 11 pounds in the first week. I'm still sitting right there as I'm halfway through week number 3. I am in ketosis. And so the other counterintuitive thing is, well, okay, well, I'm eating all the right things. My balance is fine. I'm not hungry, so why eat something else? But that's the rub. I got to keep eating in order for my body, that process to keep burning my fat stores and using that up, right? Otherwise, I guess it kind of slows down a little bit and tries to store some of the stuff you're putting in your body. So I'm getting around 1,900, 2,000 calories. I need to get up to 2,500 calories. What's this diet do to your cholesterol? I'll find out. I got some blood work coming up here in a couple of months. Maribel, Nikki, what are you guys reading on cholesterol? Because I've seen both things, like where people are going and their cholesterol's up, but they seem to like blow past it because these other numbers are so great that the cholesterol doesn't seem to bother them or something like that. But I've also seen where people's cholesterol is not going up. So I don't know what you guys are reading, but I want to hit a couple of these things. Pat Largo, how you doing, sir? Happy 4th to everybody. Happy Independence Day. We will not have a show tomorrow. And we'll be back here in here on Thursday. Looking forward to that show. Pat Largo and Corey Dillon both will be in here. That should be a fun show. So let's take care of some of these comments. So really only a few months I need, I read The Obesity Code by Dr. Fung. He has a lot of studies to back his research, and cited in his book, Food Industry Subsidizes the Grain Industry. So that's one of the things that I've heard a few times since I've gone down this path, is that one of the reasons why we do have the system that we have is because of good old-fashioned American capitalism and cronyism, and that the food industry subsidizes the grain industry, and because it's cheaper for them, and this is what's being pushed on us versus the alleged healthy diet. All right. Why not just eat healthy, frequently, avoid big sugar and processed foods, less drinks, and exercise? I know exercising sucks, but maybe play a sport. I've been playing ice hockey to exercise, and it works out great. Chris, that is a wonderful comment. Unfortunately, for people like me, when I see that, I want to reach out and choke the shit out of you. Because it was that effing easy. Don't you think I would have already gone down this path a lot effing long ago? Sorry. Yeah, because I saw the same thing yesterday too. Why don't you just do well, if you just eat this, well, I just can't. It's not food. Food is also an anti-anxiety for me. And as somebody with general anxiety disorder, I go to that food a lot. And your brain's always in a place of this, and any little thing that will bring it down a notch, whether it's a donut, a slice of pizza, a beer, then that overrides any of the, I'll just do this. Oh, it's not time for me to eat yet. For those of you that have that kind of focus and concentrate, willpower, I guess it's called. I guess they call it willpower. Good for you. It does not work for me. Oh, you just really you need to want it. See, this is where I want to get back to choking you, Chris. And you're not even saying those things because I can hear the voices in my head, not my voices. Not my friendly, the voices over the years. You're not trying. You don't want it enough. If you want it enough, if you tried hard. Well, I do want it enough where I'm willing to try this diet here. I'm willing to go against everything I think is right. Trust Eric Stratman from T&L Nutrition Coaching, because I'm not doing this on my own. I'm doing this with somebody else, and go, okay, all right, well, this doesn't seem right. You're telling me to eat 70% fatness, but you're telling me that not only will I drop the weight that I want, but that when I do see my numbers are going to look good, and I'm going to be healthy. It's not just a trendy diet. So this is where I am, Chris. And by the way, I didn't mean to be pointed on that. I hope you know that was a little bit of the theater there. I was just a little, using you to get a little something off my chest, because you're not the first person to say something like that. And not only that, but for some people like you, Chris, people like me don't make sense. Okay, I'll never make parts of my personality will never make sense to you. Well, if you've got enough willpower to be able to execute A and B, you should be able to do Y and Z. Nope. Nope. So, Nikki, my carbs have mainly been from certain veggies. I also had a dollop of Ready Whip. Oh my gosh, my wife is so excited. She got some sugar-free Jell-O. It's in the fridge, and she's like, I can't wait for dessert tonight. Because it has eating eggs and steaks and burgers and bacon. All those things are delicious, man, but you need to mix it up. She brought some almonds or walnut, pecans, or I don't know, whatever. Pecans, I think. And pecans. And in the house, and I was just like, oh. And I have to be careful when I eat nuts because I have something called diverticulosis or something like that. Little things in my intestine that or somewhere in my digestive tract where if a nut or seed gets in there, it takes a long time for those things to break down, and that gives it enough time to give me sepsis. But I chewed the shit out of those. I was making sure there wasn't a little. It tasted so good and swallowed it. And then as soon as I swallowed, I'm like, what are you doing? You're chancing your internal bleeding just to have a couple of nuts. Let's see. What does this diet do for your cholesterol? Keto isn't as easy as some people think it is. Not easy. I really do feel limited. I've been reading a couple books I bought, and I'm a chicken girl. Right. And you think, okay, awesome. I love chicken. But chicken's too lean. Technically, so like last night when we cooked up some chicken breast, I what do they call it, fillet or butterfly, whatever, cut them in half, and then put a mozzarella cheese and put goat cheese on it, to give it fat and taste, and then some spinach in there for the green. Rolled that bad boy up, threw it in the oven. Happy 4th, Chris Brown. If you're eating dietary fat like avocado or nuts, it should raise HDL. See, this is Maribel, this is the stuff that I need to learn more about, because today on the podcast, they were talking, well, the episode I was listening to was talking a lot about HDL and LDL. There's like and they're just throwing around so many acronyms, I couldn't keep up. So I have to read that and see what HDL, because there's good fats and bad fats, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, right? But if you're burning it, it shouldn't affect your levels. That's hot. I'm sure it is. Exercise does not equal weight loss. No. I feel so bad for some people too, because I'll see, family members, friends, who are posting like these before and afters, and you've seen them working out for a year, and there's hardly any change in their shape. Hardly any at all. And it's because it's about the diet. It's about the diet. Exercise does maintain. Oh yeah, exercise very important. It's very good for us. Keeps us healthy, but it doesn't necessarily. A lot of, because you'll see a lot of, and I've talked to Eric before about this, and you guys may have heard this conversation. But in a lot of women, a lot of young women, you'll see them relatively skinny but flabby. Right? They're flabby, and it's because they're effed up. I'm just kidding. It's because they're starving themselves, one, so they can stay focused and mentally, so they are only having 800 calories a day or 1,000 calories a day, and they eat all the wrong things. So then the body eats up muscle mass, and now these girls they're the weight that they want. They were, I got down to 130. Well, I don't know if that's should I be saying like 99, or I don't know. I got down to 99 pounds. Ooh, I'm under 100 pounds. Yay! I'm at my pre-middle school weight. Sorry for teasing you. That's not fair. We've raised you to be so insecure, and now I'm making fun of that. That's not right of me. So that's all right, man. Cholesterol should be under 200. So yeah, when I get my I'll be very curious, and on my numbers, I think I'm getting blood work done in August. Chris. Sorry, I don't understand you and giving you 100% credit on what you are doing. I was just saying that works for me. I know, Chris, I know. And I was just using you to be a jerk. No, I wasn't using you to be a jerk. I was using you to get some stuff off my chest, because I have gotten this many. Well, why don't you just do this? It's like, I don't have the ability. And like, Chris, I'm sick and tired of listening to people like him too, who when I go, I can't, I've reached a point in my life where I realize that I cannot pay my own bills unless it's done automatically. There are certain things in my life I cannot do. And then he will always stop me, or somebody else and go, don't say can't, you can't, it's just, I'm like, I'm 46 years old. I'm not 12. All right. I've been down this path and repeating the same cycles over and over and over and over again. So you got to find things in your life that can help you manage you, because you're not your brother or your sister. You're not your parents. You're not Tom Brady, and you're not the homeless guy. You're you, man, woman. And so what's going to work for you is not going to work. My path, my journey in this existence, this life is different than yours. Even if it's just slightly, it's going to be different than yours. So we got to find what works for us, and that's all I'm trying to do here. I wish I did have the willpower of a lot of you and the discipline. There's a part of me that wishes if I had it to do over again, I'd go into the military at 18, not because I wanted to go kill it, because I feel like it might have instilled just enough discipline in me to be an adult. Please read the obesity code. It addresses all of these things: why calories are a wrong measure, why it's not easy, why obesity is hormonal. See, I've read a lot of that too, hormonal, and not a willpower issue. Also, have you guys been reading the stuff in the last 5 years or so about how the bacteria in our gut controls our brain more than we can control our brain? The bacteria in our gut gets to a certain way, especially if you start eating bad, and it changes and then starts sending signals to your brain going, hey, we want more of that stuff. And you think you're making choices, but you are not. Hashtag Green Bench Beer is wonderful. Hashtag love mini donuts. What's the app you're using to log the food? The app I'm using is called MyFitnessPal. Let me just go ahead and whoops, I didn't mean to pin the comment. Oh, I guess I can't answer back. Oh, I can't just, I guess I can't reply while we're live. MyFitnessPal is the name of the app. You can set the settings, like go into your dietary settings there, and you'll find, because you can make where your fat is 75, like I did 75%, I think, and then 10%, and then 5% if that math doesn't come out right, I don't think. But anyway, something like that. Todd Scott, how are you? D's nuts. How are you, Mr. Scott? Nice to see you. By the way, Todd Scott is from Progressive Air Systems. And just to let you know, man, because we were talking about this a couple weeks ago when you were here, my house during the day does not get any cooler than 79 degrees right now. We've had the warranty company out twice. They say everything's okay with the air conditioning company. So now I guess we're calling Duke or whatever, and they're going to come out and do some kind of energy assessment to the house. But it is the air conditioner stays on constantly. Our bill went from 140 or something like that last month to well over 300 this month in electricity because the air conditioner won't turn off. But anyway, it's good to see your name, Todd. I wish I could eat Jell-O. Once had too many Jell-O shots and they came back out of your nose. Oof. Never had that happen. I wish that was on tape though, Nikki. So no more Jell-O for you. Heather says, sounds similar to the old Atkins diet. Well, it is. I guess a couple of the main differences between the Atkins diets and this, and the Atkins diet was a little bit more general. It was basically keep simple sugars out of your diet and those simple carbohydrates. You could basically eat anything else, keep it fat, heavy, and it didn't really matter. Where I guess there's a little bit more allegedly, man, and I know this is a trendy diet, and who knows where we're going to be with this diet in 10 years or 20 years. But allegedly, there's been a lot more science done around this now, so we have a better understanding of the process, and so we have a better understanding of what we need to do in order to have the highest probability of success. And so that's where they come up with the percentages. So, like when I did Atkins back in the day, I was probably doing 60%, 70% protein, 25% fat, and carbs, And so this is not that. Another difference is I want to say that Atkins did not allow or does not allow for dairy, but this diet does. But it's basically a modified Atkins, so you're on point there. Yep, good cal, bad call. I can agree with exercise does not equal weight loss because of people's diets. Run to drink. That's right. Hashtag run to drink. Atkins advocates high protein, low carb. Keto is high fat, low carb. Thank you very much, Maribel. Hashtag everyone hates Chris. At least you're trying. I am, Todd. Always about 115, 120 pounds until I had a complete hysterectomy. Then I gained my weight. Oh, that sucks, Nikki. You get some body parts taken out, and the next thing you know, you're gaining weight. That doesn't seem right. While I read more comments, I'd like to introduce you to the Wake.Pups. You can follow the Wake.Pups, who are sleeping right now in the studio here. You can follow them on Instagram at the Wake.Pups. That is Joey and Roxy. We'll keep it on them for a minute while I put on the crawl here and read some more comments before we get into some of the news of the day, some of the issues of the day. All right, so my wife puts. I agree with you, Todd. Before I get to that, I agree with you, Todd. At least you are doing something, brother. Our industry sucks and does not advocate being healthy at all. Oh, was he talking about the radio industry? There's a great app that my wife is using called Carb Manager. She's using Carb Manager. I'm using MyFitnessPal. She says it's specifically for the keto diet, where MyFitnessPal is not as far as I know. Todd, I do. Yeah. As soon as we figure out what's going on, Todd, I'll give you a call. All right. If you consume too much protein, that will also make you gain weight. Okay. Yes. Research now proves the effects of these diets on our health. Yep. Damn hormones. LOL. They're not. Oh, Nikki. So once you got your lady parts removed, that threw your hormones out of whack, and then you gained weight from there. LOL. They are knocked out. Yes, they had a long weekend, Steve. Thanks for coming in yesterday and helping me out, buddy. And Kimber, Joey, Roxy, Kimber says hi. They're not paying any attention to anything. All right. We got through all of that. Let's tackle some of... Hey, Elliot, we're going to go through some of the issues. For the record, I'm really coming on in Thursday to hang with the Wake.Pups. All right, I'll make sure they're here on Thursday. So, gosh, I felt like there was something else. All right, we'll get to the... I know there's... I'm sure there is. Don't worry, I'll go on a million more tangents before this is over with. All right, so thank you so much to Single Source Insurance for being the sponsor of the first 15 minutes of the Wake.Show today, which turned into the first 27 minutes of the Wake.Show today. I appreciate it. Appreciate your support. And for those of you that need a quote, you need a new insurance company, please give them a call. Car, house, business, give them a call. Get a quote from them, and rest assured that when you need them, they will be there for you. You'll get the customer service that you deserve. All right. So did you guys see the video? Hey, Mackenzie! Mackenzie's just joining right now, and we were talking a lot about you over the last couple of days, Mackenzie. I know Mackenzie is somebody who's deep in the keto diet, and we've been getting a lot of recipes and helpful advice from her, too. So I can't wait for a keto party, Mackenzie. We're going to get together for a keto party. All right. Enough of the keto stuff. I know it annoys the people that are, can, are disciplined. So let's get to some of the news of the day. Woke up this morning, smiled at the rising sun, turned on the television, and thought there was a hit and run. But it wasn't. A woman just falls out the back of an SUV, and right here around USF. So here is that SUV. There's a couple of stills. All right. We'll start with this one right here. Then you see her in the road. So this body just falls out. And this is thank you so much to NBC24.com. So there's a bot, and you see how all the people are in their car, right? They're in the middle of an intersection here. Nobody does anything. So then the next photo here is him picking the woman up off the ground, and then he drags her back and puts her in the SUV and takes off. Okay? So let me exit this bad boy. Unless something has happened within the last hour, I don't think they have found this woman yet. From what I understand, according to this story, this was probably like an hour and a half ago, a video of a woman falling out of a moving SUV is sparking a mystery here in Tampa. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office posted the video on its Facebook page, asking people to identify the driver of the Ford Expedition. The video shows the woman falling out of the SUV and sprawled out on the ground in the middle of the intersection. The driver then picks her up, puts her back into the SUV, and drives off. So later they found this SUV parked at a gas station. So they got the truck. Throw mama off the SUV? Maybe. But they have not found the man or the woman the last that I checked. But what would you do? You know, the thing is, like, there's a part of me like, man, you know, you want to get upset with the other drivers around. Like, how does somebody not get out and do something? But that is such an odd scenario, so crazy that I would imagine it's over and done with before you even realize, like, that's not a woman. It's got to be some lumber. But you would think at that point somebody would like start chasing the car, but they didn't. And but anyway, they did catch up and they found the thing. You know, I almost posed the question: what would you do? What would you do if the same thing happened to you? You saw this. Oh yeah, I'd jump out of my car. I'd do this. I'd do that. We'd probably all do the same thing. You'd just be in shock. However, those of us in Tampa shouldn't. Those of us in Florida should not be, because this kind of crazy stuff happens way too often. Right? So I think that our norm should be on the lookout for things that are crazy like this. So we're on top of it. I'm sure somebody called 911 like in that moment. I would imagine somebody called 911 in that moment. And that's why, you know, they were able to track down the vehicle eventually. But I'd follow. Oh, yeah. I would like to think that I would follow. Like after it registered, like what the? I would start heading that way and I'd dial 911 going, yeah, I think I'm following a kidnapping victim, but I'm not sure. Could you go on, sir? Could you please state your name? Yeah, my name's Chris Fisher. What kind of vehicle? Well, hold on a second. You need to send somebody now because I just saw a woman fall out of a van or a truck and she seemed lifeless. And then a guy threw her in the back of a truck and took off, which may have happened at that point. I don't know. There was another story today about speaking of this kind of throwing something in the back of a vehicle. Another story out of Florida, I think it was, where a couple goes into grocery shop, and they got a new puppy. So they put the puppy in the trunk. Luckily, it started yelping. People heard it, saved its life, and both of those people are in jail. And in all due respect, people, more people need to go to jail for stuff like that. It's unacceptable, especially here in the South. Just absolutely unacceptable. Anywhere. It's over 100 degrees in New York. It's bullshit. Anywhere. Leave your... it's like those videos. Let's see here. I don't get why Stop. You stop. Stop giving me warnings about our streaming. I don't get why no one would follow that car that is bull. Now, I don't have a story. Maybe somebody did. You know, we'll find out. I bet you by our 5 o'clock news tonight, we'll have the full rundown of exactly what, you know, transpired. But I would. You would think somebody would have followed the vehicle because it was a very busy intersection. It was a very busy, but I don't know. Let's see. The radio station I listen to on the way to work always has a daily "What's Crazy Thing Happened in Florida" segment. Yeah, I used to do that too. I called it the "Please Don't Be Florida Story of the Day" back in the day. It was 100 years ago. Oh, that's right, Nikki. You didn't listen to me back in the day. You found this show through Chris McCarty, right? Yeah. So it was something. It was the "Please Don't Be Florida Story of the Day." So there was a couple different versions of it. Well, basically, like one version of it was I gave you 3 headlines, and 2 of the headlines did not come from the state of Florida, and one of them did. And there was another version where it was just one headline. It was a crazy headline, and you had to guess whether or not it was, you know, from the state of Florida, give away something, and then I would go into the details of the story. But yeah, that Florida bit has been done a lot. I don't know, Nikki. I don't know. Because, you know, you think about it, if I were to arrest a couple that had just put a puppy in a trunk so they could go grocery shopping in Florida, I think you could easily assume they are not. I think they should be sterilized right then and there, right? If you should be sterilized, you're not because you can't raise kids either. If you're this much of an idiot, then you shouldn't be allowed around children. You probably can't even. If I follow you around for a little bit, you can't even take care of yourself. Sorry, I'm getting a little worked up here. Yep, they should never be allowed to have a pet again. It's like those videos from China where someone on a Vespa gets mowed over by a semi and people just walk by and go, let me Facebook Live this. Next up, coming out of Thailand, like I promoted at the beginning of the show. I don't know how many of you guys have been following that little soccer team out of Thailand. This is a positive story. Chris McCarty, are you watching yet? I don't see Chris McCarty on here. He might be on a plane. He might be over the Atlantic right now, heading to Liverpool. But this is one of those positive stories, right? This is a miracle for those of you that believe in miracles. This is a miracle because every day that this team is trapped in an underground cave 2 miles deep, and it is now rainy season, and the cave's just filling up more and more. Every day that passes, the likelihood that they're going to find these kids okay diminishes exponentially. And think about it. After 3 days, you're calling it. I mean, not if you're a parent of one of those kids, because you got to hold out hope until the end of days that something happened, something positive happened. But think about it. Think if you're a parent, day 3 goes by, and they still haven't found the kids. Day 4, day 7, a week, day 8. And then on day 9, they find them. 12 boys trapped in an underground cave. And the thing is, the story's not over because they have to get them out of there. It's like a 2.5 mile trek to get them out. And there's places now, I guess, where they're going to have to scuba dive or put on snorkels or something like that. And so this is still a very dramatic and harrowing experience, a story playing out. Real life playing out. And this is coming from Yahoo News. The latest, Thai Navy SEALs. Oh, it's the Thai Navy SEALs. Let's see here. Thai Navy SEAL says all 13 people trapped in a flooded cave in northern Thailand are healthy and being looked after by medics. SEAL Commander Rear Admiral Erpakorn, I'm not even try, said Tuesday that 7 members of his unit, including a doctor and a nurse, are now with the 12 boys and they're coached in the cave where they took shelter. He told a news conference that his team members have given the boys food, starting from easily digested. That was another thing. You can't just go down there with hamburgers. You can't just pop down there with some pizza because they haven't had anything to eat in 9 days. They've had plenty of water, I guess, but nothing to eat for 9 days, and so you have to ease them into it. And one of the things they were given, I saw on the news this morning, are these little coffee beans that are covered with chocolate, just chocolate-covered coffee beans, because that'll give them some of that energy they need to start, trying to get out of the cave. So he told a news conference that his team members had been given and he said that having the rescued people dive out of the cave was one of several options being considered. If it were employed, he said that you have to be certain that it will work and have to have a drill to make sure that it's 100% safe. He said there's no rush to bring them out as they are safe where they are. So it's still happening, and we still have a little ways to go before they're home and safe, but hopefully things play out nicely. So happy for those boys. Thank you, Sharon. But the next challenge is to get them out. I know. But it really is, if those things are miracles as far as I'm concerned. But what is a miracle? What is a miracle? Is a miracle just simply something that is extremely low probability and then boop, it happens? Or is there other forces at play in the universe that cause that kind of stuff? All right, so some real quick positive thoughts and prayers that they make it out safely. My dumbass pulled up some Trump stuff. I had something to say, but then I just realized, I'm like, man, we're going into the 4th. I bring this up, then I chance the comment section here, exploding into chaos. But here we go. After the mass shooting in Maryland, the mayor, let me just go ahead and give the details. The mayor of Annapolis, was it? Yeah, Annapolis Mayor Gavin Buckley had asked the president if he would order the flags in America to half-staff, put in that order. And on Monday, he said that the president had declined. So he went public with it. Shortly thereafter, President Trump has ordered U.S. flags on federal property be flown at half-staff through sunset on Tuesday, to honor 5 newspaper journalists slain in Maryland's capital. The order comes after Annapolis Mayor Gavin Buckley said Monday that Trump had declined his request to lower the flags. Trump issued a proclamation Tuesday ordering the flags fly at half-staff through sundown. 5 Capital Gazette newspaper employees were killed Thursday when a gunman holding a grudge against the publication shot them in the newsroom. Trump repeatedly has called journalists the enemy of the people. He said the day after the shooting that journalists shouldn't fear being violently attacked while doing their job. And the White House says Trump ordered the flags lowered as soon as he learned of the Annapolis mayor's request. So, and I know the right-wingers and the left-wingers are already all over this. And but here's the thing. Ultimately, he did it, okay? Ultimately, he did it. He doesn't... If at first he was like, nah, this doesn't need to be flown at half staff, and then politically he realized it's maybe better that they do lower it. However that played out, it didn't happen quick enough for some people, obviously, but it did happen in the end. And since I've been in the media for 25 years, when our new president a year and a half ago, after taking office, and even on his campaign, it was really more after he took office, because then you're president. You're not just running on, and you can throw out whatever rhetoric you want. But as we know, he continued that campaigning well into his presidency. So it concerned me very much, because also at the time I was doing AM talk radio. So those people that think that the media are literal enemies of the state, they were emboldened. And not only that, but the free press is one of the cornerstones of a democracy. Now, I'm a huge fan of democracy. If I'm weighing out things, I am going to defend democracy before I defend nationalistic ties, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, I'll spell it out. I will defend our country's foundation of free and open elections, free press, expression, speech, religion, all those things, over, say, somebody comes in and takes over America and is still going to make America the world's #1 superpower. We'll still be leader of the pack, but it'll just be a dictatorship. But it does. See, for some, they don't care. They'll still follow that leader, and we're still the greatest thing ever, so it doesn't matter. All the other things are off the table. They don't give a shit. For me, America is an ideal. It's about fighting for a certain amount of freedoms. And so those freedoms are more important to me than the land itself, if that makes any sense. Nikki says, makes me question who really said no. I can't imagine him saying no. Well, I can. I mean, I was on the radio the day that he said that those of us in the media were enemies of the state. And that's bothersome. Now, I had to separate it, because on one hand, the media needs to be checked. But on the other hand, saying something like that is not something you want to see coming out of your president's mouth, because he is the leader. And so if he's calling journalists and people in the media enemies of the state, there are those people who have been bred generation after generation after generation that they will go to war against those who are enemies of the state, of enemies that are foreign and domestic. So those are little triggers like, ooh, okay, we're getting there. All right, I'll be able to take care. And so you had the city up in Maryland. They caught another guy was it a couple days ago or just today? But he'd been on the run for a little while, who had threatened to blow up a television station and gouge somebody's effing eyes out or something like that at a television station in Texas. So yes, that kind of stuff bothered me. But then I have to walk it back again and go, okay. The way that I look at Donald Trump, our president, is more, and I've told you guys this before, is more like a Vince McMahon. He is somebody who's in character. Now, I know this might be offensive to some of you that believe that he is the savior of America and he's a genius of an order that we just can't understand. I'm sure he has a certain degree of intelligence and a certain genius in a certain category. But to me, this is somebody who is like a Vince McMahon and is going. And so every time he's in front of the camera, every time he's in public, every time he is in character. And so he just kind of rolls with it, not thinking of the consequences. But so that was very bothersome to them. But anyway, so now fast forward to what happened here. And Chris, how are you, by the way? I just saw you. Hey, how are you doing? Have you landed? Are you still in town? Are you getting ready to take off? What's going on with you, Mr. McCarty? So it is good to see, after my nerves being rattled a little over a year and a half ago, that he didn't come out and go, no, I'm not flying that flag. We're not going to lower the flag to half staff for these people, make up some kind of whatever. So anyway, Chris McCarty says, I'm about to leave. We are both solo. All right, man, we'll have a great flight. I can't wait to if you could. I know things could get hectic, but if you think about it, take a little video, hey, talking to our viewers, and just whatever, whenever you feel it, whenever it flows through you, and then message me, give me that the video, and I'll pop it in. We're not going to be here tomorrow. Obviously, no show tomorrow, and then we'll be back on Thursday with Pat Largo and Corey Dillon. Very excited about that show. Let me read a couple of these things before we move on. Yeah, you can't say all media. Damn it. Is bad. That's like saying all cops are bad, right? In the United States, the president can issue an executive order for the flag of the United States to be flown at half-staff upon the death of a principal figure of the United States government and others as a mark of respect to their memory. So he did, in the end. He did. It wasn't fast enough, obviously, for some people, but ultimately, in the end, he did. He didn't just let it, go under the, slide it, sweep it under the rug, or even worse, quadruple down on some of the statements he said before in the past and turned them into enemies as well. So I'm all right. It's offensive to pro wrestling. I really do. I'm not saying that I'm right. Some of you see this guy as the great savior, the great hero, and the other see you as the exact opposite. I just see him as another dude. He's our president. And he's got some very interesting characteristics, character traits. But I do think that he is more of a Vince McMahon type entertainer than he is those other two things that a lot of people think that he might be. Like I've said before, sometimes he doesn't think before he speaks. He's not a politician. Hitler and oofa. Oh, I almost don't want to even read that one out loud. Sharon, you can't say Hitler in disguise and then follow it up with, I don't mean to offend anyone. Because when you start throwing out Hitler, it takes things to a completely different level. You're talking about genocide, all right? Yeah, well, what he's doing to the Mexicans, he's trying to shore up the border. Nobody liked what he did when the separation of families. They're allegedly on it. We'll see how that plays out. We don't like that, right? And that likely is coming to an end. To my friends that have made that parallel before, because even it was right there at the beginning of this this families thing on the border, that I was going, man, this is starting to feel like, even though I wasn't alive then, based on what I think I know, it's starting to feel like. It started to feel like the 1920-something, 30-something Germany or Europe, Germany. And so Nikki, for those of us who start to get nervous every now and again, just like you said, you don't like the things that come out of his mouth, but because if you're a supporter and you believe in his core that he's doing the right things, even if it sounds horrible, you and a lot of other people just kind of, you don't listen. So whatever comes out of his mouth, you're like, there's just Donald being Donald. But for those on the other side or even the middle, those words do mean something, and a lot of the rhetoric he used, yes, I try to file it away in that Vince McMahon, WWE, he is just shooting from the hip and getting people riled. There are those parallels that do make people nervous, and so that's why. But to say Hitler in disguise, Sharon, you can't say Hitler in disguise and follow it up with, I don't mean to offend anybody. All right, next up. About to leave. Chris, have a safe trip. Can't wait to Why no show? What do you mean? Oh, tomorrow? Because it's 4th of July here in America. You'll be in England, but it'll be 4th of July here, and I ain't coming in. I'll be in the yard tomorrow morning. Nikki, I can't imagine how he felt walking into that job. Nikki, don't you ever feel bad for any president walking into a job? Okay, because I don't think you can make it to that level without being pretty narcissistic. Okay? You think that you can run the world. You go after that position because you think you can rule the world. Why did you feel bad for him? You didn't feel bad that he couldn't walk in and be a CEO and everybody bow at his feet and he can just do and say whatever he wants? Or did you feel bad that he knew nothing about how our government worked? He knew nothing about the balance of powers, the checks and balances that we have in place, and that there's a process once you go into a government. Nikki, overwhelming, I'm sure. Hitler hated the media. Hitler separated Germany, too. So many true comparisons. Nikki, he should not have taken a job that he was not qualified. Okay, all right, that's my fault. Let's move on. It's starting to devolve on the comment section. Let's move. Oh, by the way, here's the guy, that story I was telling you about out of Texas. He threatened to burn down. Oh, yeah. He looks like somebody who's wants to burn down something. He threatened to burn down a Texas TV station called Journalists Dead Man Walking. And more. This guy, let's see, another case of violent threats made towards journalists will play itself out in the court system less than a week after a gunman entered. And I told you the details of that. I told you the details. Nobody's hurt. And this guy is going to jail. Okay. I hope none of you saw this story. Because we're going to play a game real quick. It's almost like the shame game that we'll play on Friday. A 91-year-old man, so now picture, 91-year-old man threatens a pastor with a firearm in Pasco County. Now, for those of you who already know the answer, please don't put it in the comment section. But if you don't, go ahead and guess. Let me see if let me give you a little shot here. You know, you're not. I guess we'll play. We're not playing the shame game just based on what the man looks like, the gentleman looks like. But a 91-year-old man threatened a pastor with a firearm. Pulled a gun. Why do you think this gentleman right here pulled a gun? 91-year-old man pulled a gun on a pastor. Chris, you're right. We need to get back to love. Hey, I like to. I think we can love and have some good, honest debate at the same time. Hey, Chris, something I want you to mull over on your vacation before you get back. I watch the news too much, and part of what you see in the news is you see your right-wingers doing their thing and the left-wingers doing their thing. I do find it interesting how often people who are out preaching love, how angry and violent they are. Maybe that's an observation that is not true. Maybe it's not statistically accurate. But it seems to me that there's a lot of people out there preaching love. But as soon as things aren't lovey-dovey in a moment, they go south real quick and get angry and violent very quickly. Just want to mull that over while you're... like when we were kids, when we were closer to the other side... we can't go backwards. We can't be children again. We got to figure this stuff out as adults. And Chris, you and I are part of the solution. All right. We're part of the solution. Sharon, I love talking to you and listening to your opinions, Nikki. That's what I wanted to see. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sharon. Now back to this gentleman here out of Pasco County. 91-year-old man threatened pastor with a firearm. Why? Was it to steal from the church? No. Was it because he felt this guy was not preaching the word of God properly? No. Was it because the preacher was having an affair with a woman? And that's just not acceptable. Yes. Do I think you're angry and violent? No. Nope. But and I didn't say everybody. I didn't say everybody. A 91-year-old man has been arrested on aggravated assault charges in Pasco County after reportedly threatened a pastor with a firearm because he thinks his girlfriend is involved with the church pastor. Cornelius Jones, 91. I'm sorry. Nobody got shot. Okay, we can laugh. 91 years old and still territorial. See, I was never like this at 19. I wasn't like this at 19 years old. I never, it seems like us humans are kind of in some different categories when it comes to these kind of things. And a lot of us, I would say maybe even most of us, are more like this gentleman right here. And when we have our partners, whether your boyfriend, girlfriend, or you're married, they become a part of you. I'm not gonna be disparaging, or try to paint this in the wrong way by calling people property, because that's kind of my perspective. Since I'm not somebody who's overly jealous, territorial, and all that stuff that comes along with being a man sometimes. Well, even a woman. No, women are the same way. Women could be. I am definitely in the minority. I'm an anomaly. It's actually even been an issue in my relationships before, is that I don't seem jealous enough. So thanks for reminding me, because I probably need to act jealous. Now that I'm married, I'll be even worse at it. So I'll have to I'll have to work in a moment where I'm jealous. Let's see. We're going to be at a party tomorrow. Okay, I'll just be out. So tomorrow, here's what is my wife still watching? All right, no. So here's what I'll do tomorrow. We'll be at a party, and then I don't understand your question. Okay, well then you've definitely not made the same observation. I've made my observation is not accurate. Concerning, because like I said, it seems it's interesting to me how the hippie-minded, how violent and how angry they can get so quickly. But maybe it's because I'm watching the news and I'm getting a skewed version of things. It's almost as if you feel a need to question this to stay in your mindset. What's my mindset, Chris? What's my mindset? Hate? Smokescreen. Why did the mafia hide in the church? All right, so back to Cornelius here. To confront his live-in female roommate about why she was still at church. The pastor walked into the church when he heard another male's voice. Jones stood up and raised a handgun above his head and reportedly threatened the pastor with a firearm. A 91-year-old man. The pastor, live-in roommate, and two other females of the church ran into the office to call 911. According to the press release, Jones believes his live-in roommate, who is also his girlfriend, is involved with the pastor. Jones left the scene before deputies arrived and was later arrested at his home in Hernando and aggravated. Think about it. He's at the end of his life, and he's still fighting over his girl. I couldn't understand. I never understood that when I was 19 years old. I mean, I kind of can, just a little bit, because, as I watch all the animals on the planet, you see, it is prevalent in other species to have this male-dominated thing, and then he dominates all the females around him and dominates his environment, and and dominates the males in his environment as well, and blah blah blah. So I know it's out there, but I don't know. The 91-year-old is on a new show here, Barely Alive PD. Airs every Saturday night. All right, and so that's enough of that right there. Hi, Joey. Hi, Roxy. Hi, buddy. How you doing? Good, Joey. And the last thing I had has to do with fireworks and how to tell whether or not things are legal and not legal. Well, this is the reason I clicked on the story. Because come to find out, some of the stuff that they're selling us on the side of the road may not even be legal. And there's some weird loophole where they could sell the stuff, but you're not allowed to use it. So then it's on you. If you end up using it, So that's why I clicked on it, but I really don't care now that we've got to this point of the story. Let's just chat. Hold on. How about for just another few seconds? Passion. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you know what? That's probably it. Because for those people that are in or anybody that's in that space where you see the world a different way, and it's so easy if everybody would just kind of shift a little bit and see the world through the lens of love, right? Through love's lens. And when you're around those people that do, everything's peaceful and nice because you're all in the same place. You all see you filter the universe through the lens of love and thinking of other people and compassion and stuff like that. And so I guess I can understand that, because it seems like it's such a simple truth, such a simple truth, a reality that everybody could live. So then, if then you're trying to live that truth and somebody else isn't, then that throws you off, and then your sensibilities are offended. Your reality is offended in that moment. So you're getting I see it. Yeah, so you're getting angry that the people around you can't see such a simple thing as thinking about somebody else first. All right. So I get it. Thank you, Chris. No, close. Well, I hope you guys have a great 4th. Personally, staying close to home, very close to home. Looking forward to that. I will not be out on. I will not be out on Wednesday night for my normal karaoke thing. They're going to have a huge event at Park and Rec. So if you would like to head down there, that's awesome. And other than that, you guys have a safe 4th. Have a safe, have fun tomorrow. I would imagine a lot of you. You guys are going to take Thursday and Friday off? That's the way to. Oh, man. I can't wait till I get back to the point where I can take days off. That is definitely one of the downsides of being an entrepreneur right now, in the beginning stages of trying to be successful. There won't be any show tomorrow. Oh, you're going to miss it? Why? Well, listen, I am going to fire. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to fire up something tomorrow, and I will go live at some point tomorrow, but it probably will be from the party, the 4th of July party that we're at tomorrow. So I will go live at some point, but I don't know if we'll be talking about any of the issues of the day or what's going on or anything. Thank you so much. I was a little nervous as we dipped into a Trump there for a minute, but once again, you guys impressed me, especially Lisa and Sharon. I know you're both passionate on your sides, and to see that kind of respect is amazing. That kind of love. Nikki says, 1 Mick Ultra for me tomorrow. 2.6 carbs. I'm going to bring my bottle of 1800 with me, but I'm going to go slow. Man, Saturday night at the concert, before the concert, my brother and I polish off a half a bottle. Well, not quite. Almost a half a bottle of 1800. And then there's a few shots throughout the night and afterwards, for some reason. Tomorrow will not be like that. There'll be a couple throughout the day, and I'm looking forward to all the meat, all the fat that I'll be eating tomorrow. And then we'll be back on Thursday. With Pat Largo and Corey Dillon. Pat Largo was on the radio for quite some time here in the Bay Area as a stand-up comedian. He has a show on a Friday night we'll be talking about. And Corey Dillon, a media personality here in the Bay Area. I've heard on the radio, seen her on television. I want to say today she's even over at like 970 WFLA or one of those. But she'll be in on Thursday as well. Looking forward to that. All right. Well, thank you so much. Don't you chew the fat every day? Yeah, I don't swallow enough of it though, Steve. Yeah, if I could live off the fat that I chew every single day, if I could live off the BS that comes out of my mouth, I'd be doing all right. All right, Steve, have a great 4th. Sharon, Nikki, Pat, we'll see you on Thursday. And love you guys. And thank you so much for being a part of the Wake.Show. Invite your friends. Invite. Thank you. Have a great day.